Would you like to live your best life possible, regardless of your imperfections? Discover cutting-edge tools and inspiration to let go of your limitations and expand your life beyond what you've ever imagined. On Imperfect Brilliant, we help you tap into your unique gifts and talents, uncovering and letting your brilliance shine. Join certified facilitator and coach Betsy McLaughlin as she delves into different areas of your life to get unstuck and create the life that is truly possible for you. Betsy has changed her life by utilizing the tools and techniques she is sharing with you. What if your willingness to acknowledge your brilliance is the catalyst to creating a new reality? When you stop judging you, what else can you create in your life and in the world? Join Betsy live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern to create magical and joyous possibilities for an hour of laughs, questions, tips, and more. We are excited to contribute and play with you.
Welcome, 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 everyone, to Imperfect Brilliant. I am your host, Betsy McLaughlin, and today I have the honor and pleasure and joy of welcoming my friend, Miss Glenyce Hughes. So first of all, welcome, Glenyce.
Thank you so much, Betsy. I'm so grateful to be here.
How much fun will we have today?
I wonder.
So what in the world are we going to be talking about today? And it's actually one of my most favorite things to talk about. And the title for today's show is How to Chat with Money. And I love that title. I just think it's so much fun because I wonder how many people don't even think that they could chat with money, have a conversation with money. And it may seem crazy, and yet it works. So if you were willing to have a conversation with money and also receive the information or the response that money will give you, you'd be delightfully surprised by what shows up, as if by magic, which is one of the fun phrases that Glenyce uses all the time. So that's what we're going to be talking about today: magic with money, chatting with money, playing with money, and receiving the whispers that money is always trying to gift to you. And so a little bit about Miss Glenyce. She travels first class around the world facilitating people on creating their dreams come true. Oh, yeah, baby. And Glenyce is a successful, awesome-preneur, easy for me to say. And she and her creative improving the quality of life for people around the world. She's directly impacted millions of people on her radio show. And she's got private speaking engagements, tele-seminars, online courses, one-on-one sessions, and facilitates classes around the world. And so with that, no further ado, as I'm just really excited to jump into our subject today, how to chat with money. Yay!
Yay! How does it get any more awesome than chatting with money and with my sweet friend Betsy? How did I get so lucky?
I know. So I'm wondering, where would you like to start this conversation today about chatting with money?
Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about, the whole concept of chatting with money. And this is really, within Access, what we call that is communion. So we talk about communing with everything because everything has an energy. Everything has a consciousness. So a lot of people are doing this to some degree because they're maybe talking to their car, or maybe they've named their car, or maybe they refer to their home as a he or a she. Like, there's already some of that going on, but a lot of people don't take it into everything, where we can actually be communing with everything, including money. And this is one, like you said, Betsy, that so many people don't, it doesn't even cross their mind that money could, one, have a consciousness of its own, and also that we could actually engage with it and chat with it and, ask for more to show up if that's what we would like.
Well, wait a minute now. So I'm going to, kind of be the voice for a lot of people, I'm sure, listening now and listening to the replay in the future. I was like, hold on a second. What do you mean that it has a consciousness of its own?
Yeah. So it basically, just like, again, everything has its own, what's another word for consciousness? Has its own energy. Like it's like it's like a kid, when a woman and maybe a husband and wife or whatever the dynamics are, when they have a baby, yes, that baby is, not able to speak or something right off the bat, but they're still able to give information, especially, to the mom or to the people who spend a lot of time around with it. It's often able to energetically let you know. And sometimes it's through screaming and all of that too, but there's often an energy too. And so it's the same with money or anything, is that it has an energy of its own. It has desires and wishes and asks of, in money's case, like where it would like to go, what it would like to be used for, how it would like to be spent. And so if we're willing to talk with it, then we can actually create more, rather than if we try to do what I call be the bossy bosserson, which is, this is what I have to do with it. And when that money comes in, I've got to pay off this and I've got to do this. And money, just like any of us, wouldn't like that.
The bossy bosserson. I love it. Oh my gosh, so fun. And, so when I first heard this, it had not been a conversation I certainly had been around growing up, or anything where that money has its own consciousness, it has its own energy, and that you can actually play with it, commune with it, talk to it. It was always treated, more as an inanimate object, and an inanimate object certainly would not have any kind of energy or consciousness on its own. So having these conversations that are so different from anything that I had growing up has really changed for me the way that it's just so much more ease to be around, create money, to talk about money, to be around money. And I wonder, for you, Glenyce, when did it, was it always like that for you? Were you always communing with money, or did something change for you?
No, it definitely wasn't always like that for me. And it really back, it was actually in 2002 when I took a Reiki class, and that was really my first introduction to energy. I'd never really seen or felt or anything kind of energetically prior to that. And so once I took that Reiki class and I started reading about energy and playing with it, it certainly created more ease, but it probably wasn't until I started studying Access Consciousness in 2011 that I really got the sense of being able to commune with things, and including money. And so communing to me is a different, like when we often, we use the word chat in the title just because it makes more sense for most people. But when we talk or we chat with something or someone, it is often a one-way energy. And so when we commune with something, it's a gifting and a receiving. And so that's where I would say, once I started studying the tools of Access, where I really got that energy, like where there was a gifting and a receiving. So it wasn't like, money was just for, it wasn't just for me or anything. Like there was a gifting and a receiving with it, so I could receive from it and I could gift to it, and I could, and it could do the same for me. So, I certainly created more ease with once I started getting the energy aspect. But once I started getting the communion, that's when I would say it really started to shift and change. The other thing too is that when we're communing with something, and when we have the knowing, I guess would be the best way, that we can commune with something, then we don't separate from it anymore. And that's a big thing with money. That's why a lot of people have problems with money, is because they've separated from it. So they've made themselves, completely separate from it. So it's like, it's over there and you're over here and you want more, but all the while you're separate, that'll never change. And so the communion also allows you to really recognize you're the oneness. You know, you be oneness with money, just like you be oneness with the earth and you be oneness with everyone on the earth. You also be oneness with money, which to me can change so much, because then you stop judging it, you stop hating it, you stop, you know, needing it. You can actually be with it, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does for me, for sure. And the element of having communion and no separation, would you give everyone a little bit more explanation about the difference?
Yeah. So what most of us are brought up doing is keeping ourselves separate from everything and everyone, and not necessarily everything and everyone, but anything that we're not willing to receive from. So we end up putting up walls and barriers and judgment to keep it separate. And we buy the lie that that's what we are, that we're separate, that it's just us and our body, and that's it. And what's true, at least true for me, is that we're oneness. So yes, I have a body and I'm also energy. So when this body no longer desires to be here, I'll energetically still be here. So there's this whole oneness energy of all of us. And when we stop separating, then we can actually receive from everything. So if you've ever went, maybe you're like me, where I love the sunshine. So when I'm outside in the sunshine, it's just like, oh, it just is the best feeling ever. And so I receive so much more from that than, let's say, if I was outside on a cold winter Canada day, not receiving as much from that, you know. So we do the judgment of, okay, well, it's cold and it's winter, and we start separating from it, and then on the sunny day, it's like, oh, this is nice and this is great, and so we start receiving from it. And it's the same with money, is that a lot of us have done that with money, where we've went, okay, well, money from this source is okay, so money from our employer is okay, money from a lottery win isn't okay, or maybe it is, depending on the person's points of views. Money from, you know, the government is good or bad, or it just depends. And so we start separating from it. And then whenever we separate from whatever we can't actually receive from it. So it creates this problem, because we would like more of it. We're maybe asking for more of it, and we're not able to, because we've kept ourselves separate. So the more that you can acknowledge that you are oneness, and that you're one with money, just like you're one with the earth and you're one with everything and everyone, then money can also be a lot more ease, and it can come to you with a lot more ease also.
So that is so true. And where you don't keep money as something outside of you, separate from you, in another room from you, in another continent from you. You actually invite money to the party of your life, and having that, even the joy of money, for every penny that comes in, to be grateful for it and to celebrate it, and invite more friends to come along and play in the party of your life.
I love that. Yes, because that's often, even if you had, you know, like thousands and thousands of dollars, often people's focus is, how can I get more? I need more. I'm going to run out of money. Like, there's not that gratitude for what you do have and what has come to play with you. So I love that. I love that, Betsy. Years ago, when I first started studying access tools, I was listening to a radio show much like yours. And one of the topics very early on was, if money was your lover, would you still be having sex? And I just, and I remember listening to that going, oh my gosh, like, no, if money was my lover, I would not be having sex with it because I was mad at it all the time, and I was, demanding that it show up, and I was angry, and I had all of this really interesting energy towards it, which really was a bizarre, point of view, that it was like, it was money's fault, when really, if we don't have the money that we would like, money has nothing to do with that. We just haven't been willing to invite it to the party, as you say.
Like, oops, I think I might have forgotten to send out that invitation.
Yes.
Maybe it got lost in the mail.
Yes. And maybe you've even sent the invitation, but when it shows up, if you're really mean to it, it's probably not going to stick around for long.
I'm going to get a headache and go home.
Yeah.
Go now.
That's right. Oh my goodness, yes. Yeah.
Well, and I'm joking about all of this, and I can certainly see so many places in my life where I have uninvited money, or had it leave early because it's like, boy, this is not a fun party to be at, and and all of it is okay. That's the one thing I really wanted to talk about was whatever you've created in your life with money, it's all okay. And if you didn't judge yourself for whatever you've created, or you think that you should have created by now and you haven't, what if right now, today, you start this party of your life and inviting money to it?
Yeah, that is so brilliant.
Oops. Well, great timing for our first break. We're here with Glenyce Hughes today, and we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. Stay tuned for more juicy, yummy on inviting money to the party of your life and having a chat with money.
Free your mind with OMTimes Radio, IOM-FM.
OMTimes magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organisation, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Connect at omtimes.com. OMTimes, creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak.
Can we walk home?
How about a taxi?
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Welcome back to Imperfect Brilliant with my fabulous guest, Miss Glenyce Hughes. And Glenyce, while I'm thinking about it, before I dive into more yummy on money, I would love for everyone who might be wondering how they could reach you, if you could give everyone that information.
Absolutely. So you can find me on Facebook, Glenyce Hughes. My business pages, I've got one, Glenyce Hughes, hashtag as if by magic. And I also have one called Tools to Create a Better Life radio show. So some of you maybe have listened to my previous show, which was the Glenyce Show, which you can still listen to the over 300 episodes of. And then my new one is Tools to Create a Better Life. You can go to glenycehughes.com. info@glenycehughes.com. I mean, you could send smoke signals. I mean, there's so many ways to get in touch with me. Whatever is the easiest way for you, just reach out. I would love to hear from you.
I love it. Okie dokie. Today's conversation, how to chat with money. So we've talked about communion, not separating from money or having it outside of yourself or, in other countries or nowhere in your universe. And for the other part of the description, we were going to talk about receiving the whispers of insight that money is trying to gift to you. So what are the whispers of insight that money is trying to gift to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And with stuff like that, what I love to do, and I use a reminder app on my phone. I have an iPhone, and it comes with this reminder app, and I talk about it all the time because I only, probably in the last year, started using it, and I think it's like the best thing ever. But I can just go in there and set up reminders. And so every morning I have reminders go off at 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. and various ones throughout the day for other things. But the 6 a.m. and the 8 a.m. ones are to ask specific questions. And so one of them would be like that, is like, universe, show me what money is trying to gift me today. Show me where to go to actualize more money today. Show me who to talk to actualize more money today. Money, show me where you would like me to go, to be, to talk to. I mean, you can direct it in any which way, but start asking. Mm-hmm. Start asking, because with asking, it opens the door to receiving. And so then the more that you're actually asking for that, then you can be aware of what those whispers are. And it could be a whisper to start a new business. It could be a whisper to go get a different job. It could be a whisper to invest in some property or a stock or whatever. And it could be a billion other things. Those are all very logical money things. And there can be so many different things. But the more that you're asking, is that the more that those possibilities will show up, so that those whispers become actual things that you follow. And you don't go, later going, oh man, I knew to do that. Why didn't I do that? I should have done that. Where you're actually aware of them because you're asking every day, so that it can actually start to show up. And then I also love to just play with the energy of money. Again, I do most of my stuff first thing in the morning. So that I just kind of do like a playfulness with it, and just, tap into all the money that would like to come and play, and I invite it in, and we can go through that in a little bit, Betsy, with a kind of like a energy thing, if you like, and just to get the energy of that. Because again, it's very similar as an ask. So we're asking from that, and then the more that we're asking, the more easy it'll be to receive that. And you'll know. So if you get an invite to go for coffee with somebody, if it matches the energy of kind of what you've been playing with, it's like, oh, to go. There's no kind of, oh, I've got other things to do, or I don't really like that person, or whatever it might be. It's like, oh, yeah, that feels really great to go. And you go, and maybe they have an investment for you, or they have some other lead for you or something, where it just becomes those whispers don't really feel like whispers anymore. And for me, that's always something, because at least what I used to do with whispers is I would ignore them until they became a 2x4. And
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never ever done that.
I mean, I didn't think you'd understand that. But yeah.
Yes. So if you get hit by a 2x4 because you have not been paying attention, so the universe does get louder and louder until it gets your attention. So let's say you've not been paying attention and you finally, get kind of clobbered into awareness, or like, oh, the universe is talking to me. Oh. And let's say it's around a money thing. So many of us have money things or have created money things where they're not what we would like to have in our life. And that 2x4 hits us over the side of the head, and we have too many bills and not enough, what is that saying? Not enough money at the end of the day. I forget exactly.
Oh, yeah, not enough month at the end of the money, I think.
Yes. So let's say you've got that going on. And they're like, well, then what in the world do you do? And how, if you don't have enough months at the end of your money, so what do you do? What questions could you ask to change that?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. And so the very first thing that I would say, just like you said earlier, Betsy, is don't judge you. Like, really get out of those points of views that that you're wrong and you shouldn't have created that and you're bad, and like, just don't, because all of that, again, we go back to that separation. So whenever we go into the judgment, it doesn't matter if it's about money or if it's about ourselves or about someone else. All we're doing is creating separation. So just be like, wow, look at me. Okay, here we are. We've got this, let's say we've got this big bill come in that we weren't aware was coming, or we weren't willing to be aware was coming. Like, okay, so now what? And you basically go into
like,
question of, yes, just like that. And you just
and
go
that's
into
not
question,
really a question. That's not really a question, though, is it?
It really isn't. No. And one of the questions that, it's so simple is like, all right, so what else is actually possible with this that I've never even considered? Like, what else is actually possible with this that I've never even considered? And we're putting the word actually in there. It is actualization. So when we're asking actually, like, what else is actually possible, we're actually bringing in the energy of actualizing what is actually possible. And so it's just got a different energy on it. Maybe people have heard, the what else is possible question, which is an awesome question too. But what else is actually possible that I've never even considered with this, which then takes you out of the judgment or the separation or the conclusion that you won't be able to pay it, and puts you into the possibilities of like, okay, so what else is actually possible here? And then those other possibilities can show up. So maybe it would be that, whoever the bill is from, they phone you up and they tell you, I'm sorry, there was an error. It's only half that amount or whatever. It could be that you go, oh, wait, I could sell that. Whatever, maybe you've got a car you're not using. I could sell that. I could pay it off. Or there's so many different possibilities when you just go into what else is actually possible here that I've never even considered. And I actually use that question as a, I'm going to say like a kind of like a meditation. That's not quite the right word of it, but I don't just ask it once. Like, I actually will close my eyes and go into like, what else is actually possible here that I've never even considered? What else is actually possible here that I've never even, and I just do it over and over until I can sense an energy shift. So it's not necessarily that I have an answer, because we're not looking for an answer, but I can perceive an energy shift. When that occurs, then I know that I'm on the track to something else that's possible. And then the other thing you can do, of course, and this one you want to really be aware of, is when those judgments come up, or I should say if, in case any don't, that's great. But if they do come up, that you should have done it different, or that you're wrong, or you'll never be able to pay it, or this is the worst thing ever, whatever those are, My absolute favorite tool is interesting point of view. I have that point of view, so that you're getting rid of those judgments. And it's such a quick tool. Just whenever that judgment comes in, let's say you go into the freak out of, I'll never be able to pay this. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Interesting point of view. I have that point of view. Over and over and over till that energy is gone. Because those points of views will stop you. As Dr. Dane here, the co-founder of Access, says, your point of view creates your reality. If you're walking around saying over and over that you'll never be able to pay it, you're right. So the more that you're willing to be interesting point of view, the more magic that you'll actually be, and the more magic you'll actually be able to create with it.
Such wonderful points that you have brought into our conversation today. And having that, something as simple as saying interesting point of view, I have this point of view, really can take you out of the angst that you can be in, the solid, the fixed point of view, like there's no other way, there's nothing else possible. I've created this mess and, I don't know what else to do. And where it gets you out of that hopelessness. And again, playing what we talked about at the very beginning of the show was playing with the universe, communion, and by asking these questions of what else is possible, truly, truly opens up doors for money to find you, for possibilities to find you, for clients to find you, for job opportunities, for just all kinds of seemingly completely random, make no sense things that will start showing up simply by asking this question.
Yeah, I love that. And really just any question, a lot of times people say, I wanted to ask more questions, but I didn't know how, or it's like, no, just even if you say, what question could I ask here is a question.
Totally. I was on, somebody had me as a guest on their show, and they were like, okay, what is your absolute favorite only question you ever ask? And I just started laughing. There are so many questions that I do ask. And then I also shared the one you just said, Glenyce, like if I don't know what to ask, then I will say, what question could I ask here? And so, there literally are so many different questions and possibilities. So, there's anywhere you might be looking for the right answer or the only answer, and this answer is going to solve everything. There's, again, the universe has a plethora of possibilities. And so in asking these questions, and then the piece I would like to have you talk about a little bit is without any expectation or point of view about what shows up.
Yeah. Because that is such a huge piece, and it is something that, again, I think it's probably even from going to school all of those years and everything, where we have this expectation that if we ask for something or we take certain action, then it's always going to result in what we've decided it should result in, and if it doesn't, we failed. And we can't even perceive anything else unless it shows up that exact way. And this is where so many of us trip ourselves up, because it's like it can show up in so many different ways. You're just asking for it and being open to having no point of view about how it shows up. It might show up in, a different job. It might show up as you getting fired from your current job, but in the getting of a new job, you get double the pay or something. Like, this really is, and this is a question that I would say you might want to put on your notes for anybody who's taking notes, is to ask, truth, is this the change I've been asking for? Because the more that you start asking for stuff, the more that you start, just being aware of what else is possible. And, and engaging with money and the universe, then is this the change I've been asking for? Because it can show up and be really uncomfortable. So if you're willing to ask that and then get the energy of like, if it's a yes, then okay, cool, you know what? I'm going to interesting point of view myself about all the points of views I have and really just be willing to receive it, because it'll show up quite likely very differently. And you want to, like Beth said at the very beginning, like the gratitude, be grateful for it all. Be grateful for it all. Because then what you'll do is you'll start creating more and more and more to be grateful for.
True story. True story. I remember one time my husband and I were talking about inviting money in, and I was like, I haven't actually been doing that a whole lot lately. So we were in the car, we were driving. I was like, and I just was like, let's invite money to find us. And we did, a quick conversation on it. And then we stopped to get some gasoline. And my purse was in the trunk because we had been out shopping somewhere and I hadn't felt like carrying my purse. So it went in the trunk. And he went to the trunk to get my purse, to get the cash to pay for the gasoline. And on the ground outside the trunk was a $20 bill.
That's awesome.
Right? And he comes around the corner waving it, and we just started laughing and thinking, thank you, universe. And literally we had just finished asking for it like 5 minutes before. So there's a fun little story for you guys as we go to our second break. We're here with Glenyce Hughes today, having a chat all about inviting money to your life. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. AscendingHearts.com.
Hello, I'm Lisa Berry. Join me every Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time for Light on Living. A chance to see new, hear different, and feel more as I shine the spotlight on all the ways to lighten the load of life's challenges. Light on Living is your link to that new way you're looking for, that new understanding that will enhance your life, and that positive connection that will support your growth. So join me and you'll gain insight and start to see things in a new way that motivates you.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. This cat makes me make art. He's always motivating me to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. He's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Keyboard Cat, YouTube star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Start yours today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Hooray! We're back with Glenyce Hughes today. And just as a reminder, if you guys are trying to reach out to me, you can find me also on Facebook at Imperfect Brilliant. I have a personal page as well as a business page, Betsy McLaughlin CF, and my last name is McLoughlin. And my website is creatingyumminess.com. So just like Glenyce, lots of ways to find us. And in case you were wondering how to spell Glenyce's name, it's Gleyncee, and then her last name is Hughes, Hughes. And so welcome back from our break, Miss Glenyce.
Thank you, Miss Betsy. It's so awesome to play with you.
It sure is. We always have so much fun together.
We do.
Oh, my goodness. So what else did you want to talk about in our last segment here? Is there anything that we haven't touched on that you wanted to bring up?
Well, let's look at kind of some steps. I mean, the how-to stuff, I usually do things like that, although it's not always as kind of concrete as that. But for anybody who's new to this stuff, it does give them a little bit of framework. So the first thing you want to look at, with chatting with money is you want to look at the points of views that you have that you can't. And not that you have to spend a lot of time with that, but you do want to be aware of if you have this kind of like, well, that could never happen for me. That's impossible. That would never work. You do want to acknowledge that. And then what you do is you can just clear it. Now, Betsy and I use the Access Consciousness clearing phrase, but you can use, if you have other tools, use them or check out the clearingstatement.com for more information about how this one works. But basically you just be aware of the point of view. So something like, well, it's impossible for me to chat with money. Everything that is, I destroy and uncreate it all, right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, puck, shorts, boys, and beyond. And what it does is like waving a magic wand so that it's done, it's over, and you can actually start choosing whatever you'd like, in this case, chatting with money. So that's step one, is you look at and you be aware of those points of views that you have that are limiting it, clear those, and then find a way that works for you. Like I said, I'll take you guys through a little kind of energy exercise that I use, and you might have a different way that you like to do it. You might have, maybe 10 different ways you want to do it. There's really no right or wrong way, but just make sure you're doing it. Or even like Betsy was saying, her and her husband were, just chatting about inviting money in, and then $20 shows up. So it doesn't have to be any sort of form and structure, and it can be, if you like that, whatever way you want to do it, and then be celebrating every time money shows up. And please know that money doesn't have to be just money. Like, it doesn't have to be just the cash. If somebody offers to, buy you lunch, celebrate that, because that is also money showing up. If somebody offers to hold the door when you're walking through, that's still, to me, money showing up. Like, there's so many different ways that it can show up that if you start celebrating and being grateful for those times, then, like I said before, more can show up. You'll be more and more aware of it, and you're going to kind of, I don't know what the way would be to say this, but you're basically going to refigure your brain on recognizing more of that. So that right now, a lot of people have, I don't know if the word would be habit, of focusing on what doesn't work, focusing on the scarcity, focusing on the lack. And what if we could easily start changing that into recognizing and being aware of the joy and the abundance and the wealth and the cash? Like, what if that's just really simple, if we just start kind of retraining ourselves?
That's so true. And it really is. It's a muscle you start building. I love the retraining yourself. And so it's a muscle you build, and just play with it. And are you willing to have fun?
Yeah. Yeah. And that is so true, Betsy. Like, that fun piece is so true. Because it's no different than the party we talked about earlier. Like, who wants to go to a boring party where everybody's cranky or mean or judgmental?
Yep.
Oh, gosh.
So
okay, well
true.
then.
And the one thing I do want to say before you do the exercise is our friend Simone Millicis, one of the things that she talked about the other day in a call that I was on with her is looking at everywhere you've uninvited money. And then, like if you use the clearing statement, then run the clearing statement, or just ask those energies to shift or whatever, but like actually looking at, and she suggests putting, little stickies up on your mirror. And those questions that we've peppered through the show, any one of those, I wonder where money would like to come and find me today, or everywhere I've uninvited money, or anywhere I've not been grateful for money, or, whatever works for you, and actually put some stickies up as reminders, or like Glenyce said, having it go off on your phone as reminders so that you can be like, right, let me invite some more money to show up today. Yes. And I love that question. Everywhere I've uninvited money today. I heard that also from Simone a number of years ago. And one of the things that she said with it that really kind of opened my eyes is she said, it's not so much that it's like has to be when you didn't follow through on a creation or something like that. She said it could be not receiving a compliment. You uninvite money when you don't receive a compliment too. Like there's so many ways that we uninvite money. So yeah. Oh, actually, let's just... you talked about that. Thank you. Yes, and that's a great segue into what you want to talk about next. Go for it. Yeah. Yes. And just before we even do that, just kind of as I was talking about that, let's together, for anybody who would like this, on 3, let's just try and uncreate everywhere we've uninvited money throughout our entire life and any other lifetime, so that all of that money can show up now as if by magic. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically energetic contributions, and it's like taking a big sledgehammer, like as big as the universe sledgehammer, to all the crazy that we've been to uninvite money so that it can show up. I wonder how many different ways that we will have this, like, lumps and lumps and lumps of sums of money coming in, like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. Now, quickly, how many minutes do I have? Yes. How many minutes do I have, Betsy? We have 10 minutes left. 10 minutes? Okay, cool. So let's do this little energy exercise then, and it won't take 10 minutes. We'll do it fairly quick. Okay. So for those of you who can, just close your eyes if it's safe to do so. And just become really present with your sweet body. And just energetically expanding out into the room that you're in and into the country that you're in. Yeah, and expanding out into the entire world, so that you, as the infinite being you truly be, are being the oneness with everything and everyone on planet Earth. And then expanding out beyond the earth. Expand out into all of you as the infinite being you truly be. And expanding even farther than that. Yeah, and from this expanded space, just get a sense of the money that's asking to come and play with you. So that might be 1,000,000 miles in front of you, behind you, above you. That might be 4 miles to the southwest. It might be, a gazillion miles in other directions. It doesn't matter. Just know that there's all this sort of money around you energetically that's asking to come and play with you, and get a sense of it and pull it in. You're basically inviting it in. Just allow it to come to you now, pulling it to you. It might be in other lifetimes. It might be in other realities. It doesn't matter. Just allowing it to all come in, allowing yourself to receive it. And if anywhere that you've got blocks up or walls up to having it come in that ease, drop them now. Barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down, barriers down. Just allowing it all to come in with total ease and joy and glory. And now pull in even more. Get a sense of actually all of the money that's asking to come and play with you. Yeah, from past, present, future. Pulling it in. And noticing that you're pulling it in and you're also allowing it to flow. So you're pulling it in and flowing it. So there's not a stop point to it. It's energy. So you're pulling it in, you're flowing it. You're pulling it in, you're flowing it. So you're gifting and receiving and gifting and receiving. Yeah. And if there's anywhere in specific that you'd like the money to go, maybe you've got some past expenditures or there's something you'd like to purchase, you can direct the money specifically there. If that's where the money would like to go, you don't have to get
too specific with it. If you don't, there's nothing specific, that's fine. But if there is, you can play with that. And just play with it. There's kind of no right or wrong way with this. And even if you're not sure what the heck you're doing, just know that you're being the invitation. Just by you being present with it, just by you inviting it right now and allowing it and not having a point of view about it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then also allow all of that money that you uninvited to come now. Just kind of like turn the sign on the door around from closed to open. You can invite it in now. And there might be quite a big whoosh coming in with that. What would that be like? Yeah. And all of the ways that you might block money showing up, just to stir and uncreate that, right, wrong, good, bad, online, POD, POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. And all of the ways you've decided money couldn't show up as if by magic, destroy and uncreate all that, right, wrong, good, bad, online, POC, shorts, boys, and beyond. So that truly money can be showing up every day, all day, as if by magic. Yeah. And money, how many ways can you surprise and delight me with how you can show up today? Yeah. Invite that in. Be willing to receive even more. Yeah. And whatever the amount is that you've limited yourself to receiving, that might be $1, it might be 100, it might be 100,000, it might be 100 million, whatever that is for you. It doesn't even matter if you know specifically. That's irrelevant. Just allow yourself to receive even more now. Just allow those glass ceilings to break and crumble and fall away so that more can show up and you can pull even more in. Yeah. And then pull even more than that. Yeah. Maybe even pull in more than Oprah has ever allowed. Yeah. How much of a billionaire are you willing to be? Yeah. And notice that all of this money is desiring you too. So it's not a one-way street. It's not just you after money. Money desires to play with you too. Yeah. Dropping the barriers, allowing it to come in, inviting it in and being the space so that it can come in. Turning all the signs to open. Yeah. Yeah. And then whenever you're ready from this space, just open your eyes. And do that anytime hardship or struggle or frustration with money comes up. Because the more that you play with that energy, the more you're actually going to receive. Because the more that we play with hardship of money or the struggle of money or the impossibility of money, that's what you receive. So train yourself to be playing with the infinite possibilities of money showing up as if by magic.
Well, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful exercise that you gave us. Thank you so much. And that's how quick it can be. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, my body just relaxed. I was like, oh, okay. Started purring and being in that energy of the invitation for money of all kinds. And the example that you used of even someone holding up the door for you and being willing to receive it, being willing to receive smiles from someone, a hug, whatever, that all contributes to your wealth and things that you would like to create in your life. And having that space of gratitude for everything that's showing up, truly, for me, it's like a fertilizer sprinkling on, my let's say my tulip garden. And so I'm fertilizing it, and then more tulips, more robust, more rich in colors, they multiply, and more show up.
Yes. Yeah.
Such a yummy energy. Thank you so much, Glenyce, for running that.
Oh gosh, you're welcome. You're welcome. And it is, I have changed many a moment of this is the worst thing ever into, oh wait, I can do this. Wait, money would like to play with me too.
Yes. So everywhere we have uninvited money to the party of our lives, we are now putting the open sign. There's no more closed signs. We're definitely inviting money to come play with us, and we're willing to contribute to money as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So how does it get any more magic than that?
How does it? And thank you once again for taking time to play with us today. We're super grateful.
Thank you, Betsy. I'm so grateful for you too.
You guys have a great week, and you can listen to this recording again. It will be on OMTimes in the archives and also on iTunes Radio. So thank you so much, and you all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Glenyce.